A wonderful good morning to Old Man's Land. It is currently 2 degrees with a high of 13 degrees. It's going to be sunny to cloudy today and with some rain moving in tomorrow in the afternoon. Welcome to the first episode of my Old Man's Land gameplay. I am playing on Farming Simulator 19, No Man's Land map by Alien Jim, and I modified it slightly, as you can see. Let me show you and explain to you. I moved the hunting hut that usually is over there at the lake over here, so that we have a viewpoint for development of the farm over time. Quick recap on the No Man's Land farm. So we have an old bale shed here with some bales in it. We probably are going to be selling them because we are not going to be able to get into animals too soon. I am playing with seasons enabled as well as precision farming. Here we have a wood chipper, wood selling point. Where are you? There you are. So it's a direct selling point for wood chips. You drop the wood in it and crush 2 chips and sold directly into your bank account. We have a workshop, working area indicated out here, and we can maintain our vehicles right on the farm. We've got an old silo. Then we have a broken watermill. We need to look what we are doing there. Let's first check out the farmhouse before we're going to the equipment. First we have here an outhouse. Really tasty. And appropriately with the flies. The farmhouse that we have, it's probably a stretch calling it a house these days, but it's a living quarters. Rudimentary living quarters. Now for the equipment that we have an old pickup truck that is not in the best condition. We have a tractor. We're going to be having a look at the pickup and the tractor in just a moment. We've got a seeder here, harvester with a header, cultivator, a plow, and 2 trailers. This is your standard trailer here, and let's have a look at those 2 in the shop. So the 2 trailers that we have, this one here is our 21,000 liter standard trailer. It takes a lot of stuff that we can transport with it, which is totally great. And this one here is our second one. Let's have a look at the details of it. It's actually a really nifty one because for a very reasonable price you can get a 12,000 liter trailer that you also can modify for a bale loading wagon. So it's very versatile, and for proper gameplay we actually have the ability to put a cover on it. So that is going to be, I would assume, a very often used and versatile piece of equipment. As for the tractor that we have, now let's actually have a look at it in the workshop. So, okay. And we also need to go into the settings because I actually want to play it on as realistic settings as possible. So let's do this first. First of all, we need to rename you. And I'll get to why it's Old Man's Land in just a second. I'm going to be playing on timescale 5 or 15. I'm trying to stay on these. We will see how it works out. We're going to be staying with economic difficulty at normal for now. Dirt normal. We're going to be turning this one off. Stop and go braking is okay. Fuel usage we're going to default. And all the helper refills we're going to be turning off. Crop destruction on. Plowing required on. Weeds on. Lime required on. We keep all this. Now in seasons, because we are on no man's land, which is between Spain and France. So in Europe, we are staying with Celsius. I'm setting the season's length to 3 days. So we have a 12-day year. And this just to keep it actually moving throughout the seasons here for the episodes that I'm going to be posting. And speaking of episodes, my plan is to create 1 episode per game day from morning getting up until the evening. There's probably not now the point of recording skipping the sleeping overnight. I plan to have you participate in everything during the daytime, every minute. But I'm going to be speeding up, so making a time lapse for the times there is more mundane stuff going on, so that the episodes are not getting this long. So I just repaired our tractor, simply because it really wasn't necessary. It was completely worn down. We have white tires on it. Let's see what else we have. We have standard tires available, narrow tires available. So it's already configured in this way. We just can't customize it to it. We don't have the twin wheels, but we can use the regular ones with the narrow tire on the back if we need the additional traction. We don't have the twin wheels, and we have the standard wheels. Also, we have the large engine installed. By default, this tractor comes with the 115 horsepower. We have the large engine installed, which is nice, and the front load attacher. So this tractor is coming pretty tricked out. So that is nice. Let's leave the white tires on for now. As for the other equipment, we have a harvester. We have this harvester. It's sitting at the full value. It's $100,000. If you actually go into the garage, we see it is still brand spanking new. It doesn't have any hours on it. So this is really a asset at this time still. Same with the header. So let's have a look at the harvester in the shop. So 160 horsepower, 25 kilometers, and we have 5,600 liters in the tank, which is nice. Let's have a look at the header. The header comes with 10 kilometers per hour and 4 meters at 32,000. And here is actually another header for exactly the same price, but it comes with a 5 meter width. So let's check this Nova 330 out in the harvesters. And there it is. It's $5,000 more expensive. It's a little bit slower, it's got a little bit smaller tank, it's a little bit more expensive, but it can handle a header that is 25% wider. So harvesting is going to be much faster with this harvester and the other header. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be selling the harvester and the header that we have, and we are going to be buying the roastel mash once harvest season comes. Also what I'm going to be doing, because we're probably going to be not holding on to this machine for too many years because it's a smaller machine and hopefully we're making good money with our farm, I'm going to be using a mod that I have installed that allows me to buy the equipment used or second hand. So this way the harvester goes down to, let's say, 72,000 and the header goes down to 22,000. So let's say 94,000 is what we need to have in our bank account come harvest season, that we actually can buy a harvester to harvest. What else do we have? We have this lizard pickup. It's not worth a lot of money, so we keep it around for now to just run all kinds of small errands. We have this seeder that is also a direct drill seeding machine, so we don't need to cultivate it prior, and it can take fertilizer as well. So this nifty little seeder is actually doing 3 steps for us in one: cultivating, fertilizing and seeding. So we're definitely keeping him around. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing our plow and our cultivator with a, I think, better option. So the plow here actually takes the full 150 horsepower, it's 2.5 meters wide, and our cultivator is 3 meters wide, and I think we can do better than that. So let's sell these as well, and with it the shop. And in the shop we're going into the subsoilers. And what I want to point out is actually this Kuhn subsoiler. It takes 130 horsepower, it's 4 meters wide, and it can be used instead of a plow. So instead of 2.5 meters plowing, we're doing 4 meters plowing, which is quite significant more. But what makes this particular one this interesting is actually what you can attach to it. And what you can attach to it is a power harrow and a seeder. So this subsoiler allows us, once we are completely building it up with the power harrow and the seeder, to plow, cultivate and seed in one go in 4 meter wide. The drawback here is that this combination actually takes 330 horsepower, so we need quite a much bigger tractor than we have to run this piece of equipment. But nonetheless, what we can do now is we can get started and use this instead of a plow. So I expect that we're going to be using this quite a bit, so I'm going to be buying this one new. Now the one disadvantage of this subsoiler is that we can't create fields. And for this I have installed the mod because I think it is feasible, if you can use a subsoiler as instead of a plow, that you can use a subsoiler to create fields. So I have installed a mod that makes a copy of some of the subsoilers in our game and allows us to create fields. And I'm going to be getting this one. It's also 4 meters wide. And I'm simply getting this one because it's a different color. So that we have our 2 subsoilers, one that we can create field and the other one that we actually can use regularly. What the mod for creating fields also does actually is it removes the ability to hire workers to use this piece of equipment, and also the working speed gets reduced from 12 to 8 kilometers per hour. So we definitely want to use this modded version only to create fields and the regular version for everything else. So I buy this one as well. And as we already have some logs laying in front of our wood chipper, we probably want to be able to actually handle our logs. So I'm going to be getting a front loader for our tractor. It's equipped with the front loader attacher, so let's get a front loader. I'm getting a used one. The tractor is not the newest one, so we don't need to have a new front loader. And once we are getting a bigger tractor, we also will need would prefer a larger front loader attachment. And we're going to be doing logs for now, or preparing for doing logs. So we get a log fork. Okay, so there you have it. Let's get into our tractor and move this a bit out of the way and get over to our pickup. And let's get this one fixed up because it's in dire need of some TLC. Okay, there you go. There it is repaired. So now let's get to the store and pick up our merchandise. I'm going to be using time-lapse for the periods that are more mundane. Like this driving to the store to pick up what we bought. So here's our store. We have our sale point there. We've got some distribution point here for silo. Let's quickly check out the store. Let's open the doors. So here we have a working bay for maintenance and that, and such. Big board and some old machinery photos here. As far as I know, these are pictures of maps, also by Alien Jim. So and let's hop back in here and actually drive around the corner, because there is, first of all, there is our animal dealer, and second of all, here is our fuel station. And we are definitely in need of some fuel. So what I want to get started with here and want to get going on is can I pick it up like this? Yes. What I want to get going with is actually creating or preparing the field that we have and creating new fields. So this gameplay is going to be a number of discovery journeys. For one, it's for our character. I'm going to be introducing him just in a second. For number two, it is actually for me creating a gaming YouTube channel. I have been working on other YouTube channels for some time now, and let's just put it this way, I found a couple hundred ways of how things don't work well. So I'm taking a little bit of a pause there. I'm not saying that I'm giving up there, but I'm taking a pause there and take a YouTubecation and digging out a game that I have not been playing for some time, which is Farming Simulator. It's a game that I really like, and it's really along the alley that I like to, the type of games that I like to play. So I thought, okay, I like creating content, I like playing games, why not? So here it is, a brand new farm, brand new character, brand new endeavor of building a YouTube channel and community. So let's see where this goes. And by building a community here, I mean that this gameplay is not just going to be me playing and making all the decisions and pretending to be a know-it-all, because I'm not. I don't know everything. I probably have only played with a small fractions of the available mods. So I would say I don't even exactly know how much I don't know, but I'm aware that what I know is by no means everything. So this also means that feel free to reach out, suggest mods that would fit into the gameplay. I'm happy to have a look at those and then go from there and see if we want to include it and integrate it into the gameplay. and where it goes. Also, it's not going to be up to me to decide where this farm, this gameplay goes. I definitely want to include the community quite extensively, actually. So that is why I mentioned earlier, we are probably not going to be having animals in the beginning, so probably the first year, simply because we don't have the funds to do so. It might be the second year, it might be the third year, I don't know. And I definitely want to have the community input. Where do we go? Are we going for regular crops only? Are we going for very specific crops so that we are highly specialized on crops? We are probably going to be too cool for wool. I don't know if we can do wine. So grapes and wine, I don't know about that. We would need to have to check that out, but I definitely want to have the community's input. Where do we want to go? Where shall we go? What shall we do? If we're getting animals, when do we get them? And what animals do we start with? What animals do we get? And so on. So I definitely want to use the community's input here to see where this farm is going. A couple of rules that I'm starting out with. Let's see how it goes over time. But these are the rules that I'm going to be starting out with. Is I'm not going to be using overpowered mods. I want to have a pretty realistic gameplay. That's why seasons is on. That's why crop destruction is on. Weeds are on. The plowing requirement is on, and so on. And I'm also using precision farming, so that we actually can use technology that is available, but that is not extremely overpowering or with completely ridiculous pricing. So I want to avoid that simply because it makes it unrealistic for a realistic gameplay, or too unrealistic for a realistic gameplay. There are reasons and there are gameplays that I definitely do with overpowered mods for specific reasons, but this is not one of those. Did we get everything? Yeah, it looks like. No. I'm missing something here. So also the one thing, and there's going to be a little bit in the backstory for the character that I came up with. At least for the first 2 or 3 years, and preferably never, we are going to be having no credit history, and with that, no loan available to us. And measurements, currency, and all that I chose is in accordance with where this farm supposedly is. So we are between France and Spain, so that is definitely Eurozone. That's why the currency is the euro. And now for this mod, we can allow create fields. What I want to do right now is actually just make this field a little bit larger. We have to use what we have. So I want to make the most use of the land that we have available. And this means here also, let's make it a little bit larger. I'm not going to be going longer in this direction. There is a reason for that, because I actually want to preserve this lower edge here. Also, I want to do the gameplay and limit myself to a gameplay that is as realistic as possible. So I want to try and create nice edges on the fields and straight edges on the fields with the in-game tools, not the landscaping tools. Yes, I could simply go out landscaping and fix the edges that I'm screwing up, but I rather do it in-game, because that is what it would be. And speaking of in-game, I have been looking for a mod that would allow me to change textures in game. And why I have been looking for that is, as you can see, our roads are a little bit overgrown, and because this farm is getting or seeing more use again, the roads would become more worn and should change in the surface. Also, we're going to be having a look at that in just a moment, once we're getting on the other side of this piece of forest here, after we're done with this field. There are roads here in this land. They're completely overgrown because it's basically non-inhabited for a long time. So it's kind of a ghost land. But I want to keep these roads. So I don't want to do it in the kind of an American style, where you have all straight roads and straight edges on the field, constructed with a ruler. I don't want to go there. I want to stay with the spirit of the land. And spirit of the land here says we are in an abundant old European style area, or European area. And in Europe, well, throughout most of Europe, pathways have developed along the original path, footpaths and so on, and they just grew from there. And many roads are based on those old footpaths, and they just did grow larger and bigger and more suitable for other pieces or other forms of transportation. First horses, carriages, donkeys, carts, cars. And I want to keep those. I want to keep with the spirit and keep those roadways, those curvy roadways. So this means our fields that we're going to be creating have to accommodate that. I also don't want to go and get rid of the natural features that are there, like the rocks or where we have wooded areas. I want to keep those. And if I'm taking down part of a wooded area, I want to compensate for that and build up approximately the same amount of trees, wooded area somewhere else nearby, so that I'm not just going and completely changing the feel of the landscape. I wanna keep it. I wanna keep it authentic. Okay, so let's have a look at our land. So our land is the parcel number 26, and if I'm just watching here on the map, so it goes about to here. Let's hop on top of here and actually have a look-see around. So we are going to approximately here. So this tree is probably outside. We're going up here. So that is our land. And as you can see on the minimap, there is a road drawn in. So let's have a look at the road, because it doesn't look like anything here. So let's have a look at this road. Yes, this tree is on the far side. It's not ours. And there is something here. And this is actually what I meant. So as you can see, here is an old roadway. One goes here, one goes here, and it's going there. You can see that there was something, but it's overgrown. Nature is clawing it back. And that is what I'm looking for a mod for. Can we get a mod to actually resurface those in-game instead of using the landscaping tool? So let me know if you know of something like that. It's kind of like the rollers that you can have to restore the original state of something, that you can delete fields. That is kind of what I'm looking for. Just that I actually can choose the texture that I want to go with. Okay, I'm just finding the edge here, so okay, there you go. This is how far our land goes. Let me turn around here. Yeah, doing a, I don't know, 360, 450 degree turn instead of a 90 degree turn. There's our roadway. So doing the outer edge there to the roadway, and I don't want to get too close to the roadway. I want to keep a little bit of a green belt there. Just a little bit. Just about here. here. I respect this road here at the moment as well. I've got a couple plans for the back here, so let's talk about those in a bit. Perhaps I should not call them plans. I have a couple ideas. But I first want to get the field prepared, because we need to get our seed into the ground. We don't have a lot of time. I'm going to be numbering the fields. Usually in Farming Simulator they're just going from the left top corner of the map to the right bottom corner of the map, going crosswise and then downwards in numbering the fields. Because we don't know how we're going to be ending up with fields here, I'm simply numbering them in the sequence as we actually have them. So the one that we originally had, and that is already cultivated, or plowed I should say, is our field number 1. This here is going to be our field number 2. So in these two I'm planning to plant canola, simply because it's a relatively low yield fruit that also doesn't produce straw. We don't have a way of dealing with straw yet. I have a mod available that I want to get using, and this mod is actually a slightly modified BGA that also accepts straw as input, which is realistic. You can use a BGA to process all kinds of organic matter, so you should be able to process straw. So that is the idea there. So I'm going to be starting here with canola, and then we will have a look at what comes next. We need to build up our fruit sequence in seasons. And there's going to be room for a larger field, and on that one, for the first year, I actually want to put in soybeans. We get a pretty good price for soybeans, and it's also a lower yield one that doesn't produce straw. And both of those we can harvest with a regular harvester, with a regular header. We don't need any special equipment, and this also means we don't have additional expenses. So that is the idea there. And yes, I'm leaving the trees that are inside the fields in for the time being, because, like mentioned, I want to get the seed into the ground. And yes, I'm running in circles, so to speak, around the fields. I think it's a more efficient way of working on the fields, at least with the equipment that doesn't cause disturbance to something that you have already finished. So having had a look at our Kuhn subsoiler with the power harrow and seeder behind it, that would be an implement that would not lend itself for this approach, because you're leaving a seeded surface, and then when you're actually starting again with the 3 steps, you would start with the plowing again. You actually would plow what you already have seeded and then power harrow it and then seed again. So you actually would need to double up the seeding, which is not making a lot of sense. Here with the plowing, or just with cultivating, or same with harvesting, it doesn't matter if you're running with the harvester over the area that you already have harvested. There is no harm done. But interestingly, now that I'm talking about it, I actually never did properly analyze that. And that is kind of odd, because usually I'm a really big fan of analyzing the crap out of things to know what is the most efficient way to do something. So it's actually odd that I have never done that. Let me know if you would like to have me analyze that. Do a video about it, analyzing different patterns, how you actually can work a field. Up and down, crosswise, in circles, staggered. It's all approaches that you can take. And I would be happy to set up a testing environment to actually do that. Yes, how I'm creating fields is not going to be the most friendly for AI helpers. But we're going to be having this problem no matter what, because our fields are not going to be straight at the edges. So the idea is that I will need to run a path around the field anyhow before we can use AI helpers. And as I have to do it anyhow, to kind of straighten them out and get the edges clean, this makes the room that AI helpers then actually can deal with it. So we can use the land to the brim because of that. And we can see, yeah, we can plant canola right now. Soybeans we actually have to wait. We are 2 days ahead. So we have a little bit of time to actually creating the other field. That is good news, because this means we can take care of this tree and get this out of our way. Yeah, but this also means we actually need to get the equipment to do so. So let's go shopping. We need forestry equipment. We need this stump cutter to actually cut down the tree stumps that is left. It's only 5,000 bucks. We're going to be using this quite a bit. So let's get this one. We have a log fork, but we definitely will need, I'm going to be using this one here. This is also a mod that actually allows I was just reading Johnson Flatbed, and it was just not making sense. And so this actually allows the player to plant saplings by hand. So you actually can, as a player, plant trees. So I'm going to be using that, and it's actually coming in on the keyboard like you're switching to a chainsaw. So that is making a lot of sense. And the chainsaws are in their own one. I know they're all the same. Which one should we get for the color scheme today for this gameplay? Yeah, let's stay with the steel. That's already marked. So we have a chainsaw, we have a stump cutter, and we want to have a trailer. Now for now we can just use our small trailer. Later on we want to use want to have a different trailer that actually is more suitable for transporting larger logs. For now I'm going to be using the small trailer, and it's going to be a little bit of a not that easy or not a straightforward approach, but we can save the money for now. So this means when we're going to the shop, we have one end of the tractor available, and by having this, what I'm going to be getting as well is actually our scout implement to take soil samples for the precision farming. So I'm getting this one as well. And speaking of seasons and precision farming, I'm getting our hand tool to actually do the analysis. So this means there's our tree sapling, there's our chainsaw, there's our tool. So let's get to the store. And I just had an idea, because we actually need a pallet fork and a bale spike for the front loader. We probably just should leave the log fork here. Get one of the others, so that we don't need to run to the store as often. Let's move this guy out of the way. There's a nice spot here. And reconfigure our trailer. Oops, I made a mess. So yes, that is actually one of the perks of working with Alien Chim's map. Wrong key. Why can't I move you? It's too heavy. Seriously? Let's reconfigure our trailer. First of all, we are buying the full capacity that we can have. It's only $4,500 for 8,000 liters more. And there you have it. And now we are going to be customizing it, because we actually need the bale loading configuration. Why? Huh, I can't crouch at the moment. Thing that we're doing now is moving the trailer over there and our stump cutter, because we have 2 more trees that we will need to take down here. There's our road, there's our roadway. There you can see it. Next stop is going to be seeding. canola on here. And we will need to use the cultivator over here because pulling up the minimap, going pretty much to the corner of our property. So this one down here, it's a nice distance, and it's going quite a bit over there. So let's have a look. So there's the 2 trees that are going to be inside. There's another one down there, and we're still going. There's a couple more up here. So that is somewhere down here. There you can actually, there's the road. There goes the road. You can just barely make it out. But this is a nice big field. So we're going to be taking down those trees. Or those trees. For creating this large field and planting soybean in it. So for now it's 14:30. Let's get the seeder out and let's start with seeding canola. And while we're seeding this, I give you the backstory for this character here and how it comes that he owns this land and starts on this no man's land or old man's land, and why it's the old man's land. There's probably going to be a bit more to the story than we knew so far, but let's start with what we know so far. So our fellow is originally from America, and he came over here to work this land. And that is the reason why he can't get, why he does not have a credit history and can't get loans, because he has not established a credit history in the European area. He's got American history, but not a European one. So, because of that, he simply can't get a loan so far. But how does it come that he has this land, and who is he, and why is he over here? So who he actually is, he is a tech guy. He has been working in the Silicon Valley area mostly of his life, and lately he has been working for Twitter. And it being end of 2022, you probably know that Twitter folks really got hammered and weeded out by Elon Musk after he took over Twitter. And our fellow is one of those guys that got the ultimatum to either work hard and get treated like crap by Elon Musk. At least that is his opinion. Or not take the ultimatum and do something else. So he is one of those few dozen folks that did not accept the new terms, and is doing something else. And as luck has it, he actually had, a couple of weeks before this ultimatum was given to him, he was contacted by a lawyer firm and informed that he is the closest survivor to an uncle that he even didn't know he had. He knew that there was some family history on his mother's side and that there was a lot of bad blood, but he didn't know that there was a brother to his mother, and he can't get the details there anymore because his mother actually died in a car crash a couple of years ago. So all what there was, all what family is there, is unknown to him, and he can't really get too many details other than, yes, there was very bad blood and a lot of history, evidently, but what it is, who knows? Doesn't change a thing that he now owns this land because he's the closest relative. And he was contemplating what to do with the land. He was playing around with ideas of taking a break of the tech industry because he has been working in there for quite some time and just needed a change. He needed to push the pause button there to recharge and rejuvenate. So one and one came together. He put most of his household into storage, rented out his house, packed a couple suitcases, and came over here and tries his hand at farming. Something completely different. Something far away from technology. And a freaking big adventure. So that's our guy. So let's see what he uncovers about his family history in this area. If his relative lived here, there are going to be stories around, and somebody is bound to know something. So it is about getting the folks here to actually talk and disclose this something. So that's the story about our dude. And as you probably have noticed, I put a frame up while I was telling this story, because I think there is too much blurring the lines between entertainment stories and content that is being sold as something valid, as something real. And because of this blurring of the line, it's at times extremely difficult to differentiate what is what. And in my opinion, it is important to be very clear about that and transparent. So that is what I'm doing with the borders that I'm putting up around the video for certain sections. Whatever is fictional has the one border color, and whatever is based in reality, which what I'm more or less are going to be telling, or actually I already told you about my playing farming simulator and simulator games. Has a different color, just to differentiate and make it very clear what is what. I don't want to blur or contribute to the blurring of the lines here. It's important. I find it important. So, if I find it important, I can do it. And I'm doing it. Last step now is to use our sampling tool to collect the soil samples on those two fields, and then we're good. Oops. Major crash. Let's take the sample here that we can get the borders, the first borders established. Okay, so we probably just need to take 2 samples on here, which is nice. There you go. First set of soil samples taken. Okay, let's have a look at... It's not in here, it's in here. Precision farming. So, nitrogen is not bad, so we probably don't need to worry too much about fertilizing too quickly. We have it nicely planted. Nothing needs plowing. There you go. Done. It's planted. We don't have problems with wheat yet. So this looks all very promising. We have a bit of time left in the day today. So, what are we doing with our little time left? We can have a look around the farm, what we want to do with it. And we can have a look at the silo. Okay, sorry. And let's have a look at the prices. So wheat we should be topping out at about 710, and that looks like early winter. Barley is basically the same, 660, and early winter. Oat is 1120 and also early winter. Canola is 1270 and late autumn. Sunflowers, we are high in sunflowers, so, and this is actually spring 1 or late winter. In soybeans, it's 2100 and in early summer. Corn is also early summer and around 840-ish. So now that we actually have these, what we probably could do with our last few minutes of the day, let's make some cash. Sell our sunflowers. We have about 1200 liters at $1,400. That gives us 16,000, 14,000, 16,800. $16,863. Yeah, a turning cycle like an elephant. Well, an elephant probably can't turn on the spot. So this is actually a insult for an elephant. My apologies. Okay. And with this, we have finished our first day on Seraphis Farm in Old Mainland. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you have seen, subscribe. The subscribe button is coming up on your screen right now. And check back for more. Thanks.